and I'm just going to connect up just to make sure that everything is working as we hope. So bear with me 2 seconds. While we're waiting for me to check everything, you can see we've got a project in the scroll saw ready to cut out, and this is actually an idea by Yelly, my wife. So as you may or may not know, we do all sorts of designs, and this one here with the butterfly is a design that we do. Everything seems fine there, so yeah, I will continue. Right, so this design is one that we do. I've done it on Lovespoons. I've also done it on as like a fridge magnet, and so we've done it as a few different designs, but in this example, she said, why don't you try doing it as a coaster? So here we are. So we're gonna have the butterfly in the center, and we're gonna turn this one into a coaster. So that's the first demonstration that we're gonna share with you. The next one then, we're going to cut out this one here. That's going to be a robin fridge magnet. So that is the next demonstration. And the final one will be this one here, which is just a simple little flower. And that then, afterwards, we'll carve that and turn it into a key ring. So, there we go. Hopefully that's all working fine. Any questions, any thoughts as we're going through? The wood that we're using, most of what we're cutting out here today is going to be mahogany, but we've also got some of that beautiful Savina from Spain, so we'll also cut that. But on this one, we're going to start off doing all of that pierce work, and then afterwards we'll go on to the other projects. We're cutting out 3 at a time, so we're using stack cutting to work on this project. So here we go. Hello, Sammy. Oh dear, what's he done with the notebook?
Frosted it.
Oh dear, we'll have a look for it after. There we are. I thought I could use... Has he? We'll have a look. We'll have a look together after I finish my live stream. I thought I could hear a bit of coughing in the background. That's my son Sammy. He's come in. Do you want to say hello to everyone? Good boy. Right, we've got Paul has joined us. Hello, Paul. Hope all is well. Great to hear from you. Can you see? Look, we're on there, Sammy.
Who's Paul?
Who's Paul? Paul Russell. See? He said good morning. So I'm guessing that he might be somewhere in America because it's the morning in America. But for us, it's pronounced that. It's good afternoon. There we are. Right, so we're going to carry on with this pierce work. Carry on cutting through. And we've cut out all of that design. With this one as well, what we will do is afterwards we'll do a little bit of carving just to add a few extra lines. Nice and easy one to cut out because we're working in fairly thin pieces of mahogany. The other ones that we're cutting out a little bit more tricky because they're thicker pieces of woods. Oh, Mark's with us as well. Hello, Mark. Hope all is well. Ah, there we are. Paul's in Arkansas, and Mark, of course, is in Llanelli, or unless you're watching us elsewhere today. And we're down a little bit further west, close to Tenby. And yeah, we're it's starting. The weather does seem to be improving for us. But yeah, thanks for joining us. Workshop has been we're on a bank holiday here, 1st of May, so we're on a bank holiday Monday, and we haven't had many people in the shop, but we did have one customer who came in, and I think they immediately fell in love with our Tree of Life plaque. So yeah, we've sold that one. So I've only ever made two. Excuse me, I made two of those Celtic Tree of Life plaques, and they're both gone. So you'll see the video of that one being made on our channel. A lot of work involved in making it, but great to see them going out of the workshop, and it's going to be a bit of work to replace them because quite a lot of cutting out involved. Thomas Woodcarver's just coming through. He's been working on the scroll saw as well. You're cutting out a bespoke Lovespoon for us. And, oh, there we are. He's brought it with us.
Hello, good afternoon.
So there we are. That's what Thomas Woodcarver is cutting out at the same time on the scroll saw. And you're still using that technique, aren't you, where you've got a block of wood. We've done a video on it where you put a block of wood to use the different part of the blade, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So to get better use.
If I could show that one as well.
Yeah, we will show that one. There we go. So you can see that's where you're starting from.
An interesting point for pricing.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Similar spoons. Okay.
Well, that one there, if I just say, that's got a little bit more, that's going to have a bit more work in it than this one here.
Yeah.
But-
But a similar piece of wood
Yeah.
for both pieces.
Yeah.
Right? It took me 10 minutes to find a piece of wood for this one.
So that one took 10 minutes to get the woods.
It took me an hour and 10 minutes to find a piece for that one.
And we're charging less for that one than that one.
Exactly.
Shows you how difficult it is.
So, for anybody, working out how do I price this, how do I price that?
Yeah.
How do you contend with that? Because we've already given a price.
Yeah.
So,
And
I have to
unfortunately,
work.
that's something that.
You have to work that hour
That's right.
into that spoon. It's the way it is. And especially when people, customers come in and they say, "Oh, I got £50 budget."
Well, this is one of the hardest things, isn't it? Where quite often, and especially when we're answering emails, and in fairness, we do ask people to give us a rough idea of budget.
Most people are very reasonable.
But it's a really difficult thing when people say, "Oh, I have a set budget." Quite often, it's nigh on impossible for us to.
Well, especially
stick
when
to
they
what
give
want.
you
A
when
low, yeah,
when they give you specific.
yeah,
Um,
that's right.
yeah, I'm just wondering how.
Yeah,
how
no,
people-
exactly. That's an hour
How
gone
other
in.
people sort of
How others work
find
it out.
this problem.
That's right. Now I'm going to proceed with this pierce work. So we're going to cut all this around. So far so good. Yeah, happy with the blade as well. Cut it nicely. No worries, Paul. Thanks for joining us. And I'm wondering now as well. I can see Mark has said there that he's at home. I'm just wondering, Mark. We were watching a bit of the rugby again this week with Lynette. Wondering, do you follow it yourself, Mark? carver in. Hope all is well. Thanks for joining us. Let's have a look what Mark said. Finding suitable wood for a project is the bane of my life. Absolutely. I don't have a thicknesser, so I just have to use the thickness I have. Yeah, I mean, it does. Yeah, we spend a lot of time in terms of sorting wood out, processing wood. Oh, that's my mask hitting the floor. It's a big part. Always sort of, well, we're dealing with wood, of course, all the time, and finding suitable wood can be a bit of a challenge. If the music seems a bit loud as well, I just realised that I haven't quietened down. I haven't put the music. I normally put it down a little bit. I may quieten it down a little bit for us, I hope. Let's have a little look. Not really a fan of team sports. I follow Wales in the rugby when the Six Nations are on. There we are. Yeah, no, it's just we were watching on the weekend, and I thought they were a bit hard done by some dodgy refereeing. So I didn't know if you were a Scarlets fan. When it comes to the workshop, what we're doing a lot of the time, see, when we're making the different items that we make, you're trying to decide what's selling well, what seems to be popular, what's successful and stuff like that. So we do well with the butterflies, so that's why we're going to make this one as a coaster, see if it's popular. We saw a lot of fridge magnets recently, so that's why we're making some fridge magnets. Key rings always go well. This is one of the most popular ones we do, just a simple little flower one, really popular. And then it's that continual process where we're keeping up with the Lovespoons. And the Lovespoons, for us, it comes in sort of three parts. One, it comes as bespoke Lovespoons, and that's sort of one-off Lovespoons, because they're pretty much, there's very few of us left in Wales who actually do that. There's our display in the workshop here that you're constantly trying to keep up with, and then the other one is the internet, which at the moment seems a little bit quieter than normal, but it's all just as well, because you can't be busy at everything all at the same time. As you can see, we've got the outline, the surround around the butterfly. We're now going to get those little bits of detail, so all of the details in the wings. So for ones like the carvers joining us a bit late, what we're highlighting through this project is how we can take a design that we use for something else, as in we normally turn this into a fridge magnet, and then we can turn it into a coaster, just highlighting how we use the designs to do different things. Similar to last week where we were using the swans, only this time with a butterfly. yeah, something different. I'll ask as well, has everybody been across to see the carver's latest video working with case knives? Checked out the article as well, some great stuff. Yeah, well worth getting across there. Have a little look at what the carver's doing after the live stream, of course, and leave a little comment on the video. I've just been finishing off as well on probably a video that I've had more fun making than a lot of different ones we've done, and it's been looking through all the comments that we've had. Yeah, amazing really, the different comments, and it's surprising how many comments we've had over the years, and it's been great then to hear, now you're welcome, hear different things. What I've sort of done, I hope it doesn't come across badly in the video, but I've sort of picked out some of the worst comments in some ways, or the ones, we won't say the worst comments, probably the ones that have given us a bit of a laugh. And so we've shared it with it, and we've done a bit of feedback on it and just had some fun with it. But yeah, good fun doing, and hopefully I'll get that out in the next couple of months, and maybe you'll all have a bit of a laugh watching it, because certainly good fun to make. Do you know, it was a fantastic process to go through, because it just sort of highlighted that it's exactly really why we started doing YouTube, is because, you know, to have a bit of fun with things and to enjoy it. And it really highlighted it, and we just had a bit of fun doing it. I mean, we're still, you know, we're still making videos and stuff like that. Be honest with you, at the moment, I've been concentrating on slightly longer stuff, because everything had been moving towards shorter content and things like that. But I think that the longer stuff, the live streams and the longer format videos, I think that you can, I don't know, personally, I think that you can engage with people more through it. It's not to say that we won't continue doing the shorthand, the shorter videos as well at different times, but it's more, for me, it engages more to be able, like through a live stream, to have a conversation. Yeah, we also do things like sharing the analytics. So we reveal why we're not millionaires. But just to let you all know in terms of everything from how many views we've had, how many hours that equates to, and also how much we've earned on it. So it's very much a video that lays everything on the channel, lays it all bare for everyone to see. But that's the thing, is that anybody interested in doing a similar thing, sort of possibly having a similar channel, it explains in the video all those sorts of things with the analytics. I think long form has greater staying power in the long run. Yeah, I agree. Shorts are good for a laugh, spot on. Or to learn something simple, but they are shallow on the amount that they can cover. Yeah, spot on. I just think that we can offer more. Like when we have somebody new, somebody who's a beginner, involved with the live streams. There we are. Mark says not keen on shorts, but sometimes if the video is too long, it can cut into my time in the shed. I try my best to stay in to watch you live. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. It's getting that balance. So our videos, our sort of video uploads will never be too long. I wouldn't have thought we'd do many now over 20 minutes, but it's the same. I don't think we'll be doing as many shorts as we have been in sort of the last 12 months, but we'll see. Things can change. It's all good fun though. Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you for that. Yeah, I was going to say the shorts though as well. What's happened is recently, Yelly, my wife, she's been doing a course and things like that. So I haven't had the opportunity to film with her, and she's kind of the star of our shorts. I find that our shorts actually do better on other platforms. So things like Facebook and Instagram, they do better on that. And the number of people who stop Yelly and say to her, "Oh, we love seeing the shorts with her, and they think they're hilarious," this sort of thing. Yeah, so we will still do them, but we have a bit of fun filming them, and that's the main thing. Is it's Yelly who we need to sort of make those. So I have to wait she is a bit of a star for us, where I have to wait until she's available for filming. So that's why, yeah, we haven't done so many recently. But she will be back. She's always asking me to make new things. And on that note, I'll give her credit as well. This is her idea. So I've been doing the fridge magnet, and she said, why don't you do a coaster? And the other thing as well, I said, look, I'm going to make this Robin fridge magnet, and she said, well, why don't you do that as a coaster as well? So all ideas coming from Yully. So always keeping me on my toes and keeping me busy. There we are. Right, that is our butterfly. Now, because we got the 3 pieces, I'll show you from the back as well, so you can see we got all of our cuts clean. So that's what we want. Just a little bit of light sanding required, just to take that little burr off where it's cut not perfectly clean. Yeah, so we will separate those 3 layers where we super glued them together. What I will do as well though, I'll sand them as the 3 together, and then afterwards, for the carving, we'll just go a little bit of detail around there and a little bit around there just to separate it, and possibly just a little bit of separation there. But it'll be the minimum amount of work that we can get away with. Okay, on to our next little project. And the main sort of challenge with this one is that we're working in much thicker pieces of wood. Not too bad. That's why I've used the packing tape to lubricate that blade, make that process slightly easier. So as we're cutting out with thicker wood, yeah, a little bit easier with that packing tape. always check in the back just to make sure there's no, the main thing I'm checking for to see if there's any marks from where we drilled through. That's the most important. It's all nice and clean, so we will continue. Now we got that sun is just coming across and starting to shine on there. So I may go across. I'll do a little bit more. Yeah, I may go across and just carry on with the carving. So you can just see we're just losing a little bit. It's our skylight. One day we'll actually fix a blind on there so it doesn't cause us the same problem. So what I've done as well, for everyone to know, with this robin design, I've cut down there. Now, initially it sort of looks, you know, that's going to create a weakness, but the way we remedy that is that we are going to add a fridge magnet to the back, so it'll, once we add that CA glue, it'll strengthen it back up again. So just a little pointer for what happens there. I'm going to use my back now to try and block out a little bit of the sun, which means I'm going to be cutting on a bit of an angle. I don't know if that's going to work. Okay, so that sun is getting pretty strong. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to head across to the workbench, because without cutting it out at a right angle like that, which is going to be extremely difficult to do, yeah, it's going to interfere with what you can see. So we'll take that across and we will just show you how we go about carving just a little bit of detail on that one there. So bear with us, I'll move the seat across. There we go, right. I will also change the microphone. And so the main bulk, let's change it over. That one, or that one there. So I just check that that is still working properly. Put this one in the vise. What happens, see, as that afternoon sun comes across, excuse me, you start to lose. There it is. Right, you just start to, and look at that. I knew that would happen. Can anyone guess what's happened as soon as I come across to the workbench? Put it in the comment section if you can guess what has happened the moment that I've stepped away from the scroll saw. Here we go. I'll give you a few moments and then I'll show you exactly what has happened now that I've come across to the workbench. And as you can all see, the sun has gone back in. There you go. Typical, and especially typical here in Wales with that sun. As soon as I've moved, it's gone back in. Yeah, so this one here, overcast, spot on. So it's one of those things where all we're going to do is sort of the minimum amount of carving just to bring out the detail in the design, create a little bit of separation. And so I was working out with this one. See, normally with the other ones we go straight across like that, but I thought, well, we're gonna not have enough wood. You're trying to think practically all the time. If it's going to be used as a coaster, I know some people buy them and display them as opposed to using them as a coaster, but I'm always sort of trying to think practically, if somebody is going to use it as a coaster, because that's what they're sold as, how can we make it so it'll work most effectively for them. And so this is why I came up with the designing it in this way. And all of this wood, this was this came from furniture, and it was panels, and the panels that were left over, I'll check that out. So this is why I came up, yeah, you can still hear me? The panels were quite thin. So I looked at them and thought, well, what can we use the sort of thin panels for? And then I thought, right, it'll be perfect for coasters. And that's where we can sort of get the best out of everything that we do. Nothing needs to be discarded, nothing needs to be thrown away. Right, so just carving a little bit of detail around those pieces there. And then into the center. And it's, in many ways, it's easier, because it's easier carving this as, I'm going to use our new gouge. This one I was talking about, I think it was 2 weeks ago now I was talking about this one, our brand new one. Blimey, what a good bit of, what a good tool to work with. Fantastic. Such a sharp gouge, really good quality steel. Yeah, it's been a real pleasure to work with so far. So just take a little bit off the top, just like so. And then same off the bottom. I know I always say, it's a case of do as I say, not as I do. You shouldn't carve towards yourself, but it means I've got to turn it round in the vise and we're being a bit lazy. cutting in there like so. So again, just to explain the processes on that side of it for anyone who is learning the wood carving, you got the stop cuts, so you cut down into the woods. You then use that stop cut to cut into. So where we cut there, you just cut into it, and then afterwards, if needs be, you re-establish the stop cut. So you cut down further, like so, and then cut back into it if needs be. So it's as simple as that. And then we've done the same. We've got our stop cuts going into the center, like so. And then on this side, re-establish the stop cut. The sun is very much back on that scroll saw now, so there you go. As you can see, a bit overexposed to say the least. So we made the right decision to come across to the bench. I'm happy with the decision now. And yeah, so we're going to go around the top, and it just shows if you can learn a little bit of wood carving, it very much brings everything very much to another level. Wow, what's going on with that? I'm just going to look now. God, it's really done something quite weird with the sun getting on that. That's done something quite weird. Something strange has happened there on the other shot. It's certainly not quite right, but there we are. Right, so yeah, it's just, if you are doing scroll sawing already, if you can learn just a little bit of wood carving, using those skills together, the two skills at the same time, it really can make all the difference to your scroll saw projects. Okay. So just shaping this a little bit. And if you're looking for, different projects to do, some of my own favourites are flowers and nature, birds, animals, insects. Great fun. Great fun to do. Let's have a look. There we are. Just in like so. That's it. Yeah. So, turn it round in the vise. Where we've carved in one direction, we now carve back in the opposite direction. I was going to ask, how do you do a stop cut when the curve of the chisel is the wrong curve for what you want to have? Right. Yeah. That is something that, to be honest with you, it happens quite a lot, Mark. So when you haven't got one that'll follow it, two sort of things that we'll do. The main sort of thing is that we have what I would refer to, and have a little look at something to carve, to see if I can sort of demonstrate. There's two things that I would do. Firstly, I would adapt the carving to suit the gouge. That's the first thing I'd be looking to do. And then the second thing, I would be going to sort of go-to gouges that can get you out of trouble. So I will show you what I mean by that. And I will have a little look what I got on the bench to see if I can give you a demonstration of it. Let's have a little look. Here we are. I will sand this one down just to see it. Finished off. Just like so. let's just use a little bit of finishing sandpaper. There we go. I'm not going to separate those layers because I'm thinking of speed of production and things like that and making life easy. So what I will actually end up doing is separating them after I put them on the belt sander. I'll be honest, I don't know why I didn't think of that earlier. I should have sanded these a bit before I started on the project altogether. Right, so to finish off, we will show Mark how we deal with that issue, because it is a common carving issue and there are two ways that we go about dealing with it. So hopefully you can see that one there. There you go. So that's all carved up. What have I got on the bench that I can use to demonstrate? I've got that spoon there. I'll see if I can find something in this. So, yeah, if you've got something like this, sort of standard carving, the first thing then, like that there, that sort of curve, you know, it works well on that gouge. But for instance, it'll work well. It'll work well on this gouge as well. So there are a number of different ways of sort of doing it. If you have a situation where you're carving something as you described, and you haven't got the right tool for the job, what you can do is to go for like a smaller gouge, so something like this. And you can sort of try and make up the cuts. So if we were going around there, you can just take little bites at it and just mark around like so. So it takes us a little bit longer to get the cut done, but if it does the job better, you know, that's how you can do it. So for instance, we can use a small gouge like that one there, and then it becomes like a go-to gouge. Let's see if I've just got a block of wood. Let's show you on this. Let's mark something out that I know I can't do. Let's mark something out that we know we can't do. I don't know, just something like yeah, there we go. We mark out a question mark. As it was a question, we mark out a question mark. Right, so you go then, and the first, what you do is you sort of go through your gouges and you try and work out, you think, yeah, that first one, that would roughly do it, but not ideal. So then you go to your next one and think, right, will that be able to do it more easily? And you think, still needs a little bit more curve. So you work out the largest one. I mean, that's what they always say, use the largest gouge that will be able to do the job for you. So for instance, I would have that gouge that can do the job. Now, let's say I go through all of them and I still decide, no, they're not going to be able to do them. Right, go down to your smaller gouges then, okay? And you can use them, your smaller ones, to sort of make it up. So you can start working like this and sort of making up the cuts, okay? So I start making up that cut. But the problem is, there we are. So this bit then, it starts to get to be a bit of a sort of tighter fit. And this is the carver saying, if you haven't got one that isn't a proper fit, then you're gonna have to sort of make it up. And there's ways that you can sort of bring things around. So we're just working our way around that cut. Decide, you're basically selecting the gouges that can get the closest to what you want. Okay? So that's the first thing you do, but there's ways that I use to conceal that issue. This one then, see, we go back the other way, ever so slightly. So I'm using gouges to make it up. Okay, so those small gouges have allowed us now to follow the line. But sometimes you won't have a gouge to follow the line at all. And we'll try and show you. I'll have to do a proper demonstration to fully show it. because it's only when it happens, I know exactly what you're talking about, it's only when it happens you think about it. Because the other thing then, see, you can do is that we always use that stop cut and you take a little bit away from the outside of it, okay? So that's establishing our stop cuts. So we've established our stop cut. Now the other thing that you can do though, see Mark, is if it hasn't followed the line as you want to, so it hasn't gone right to the stop cut as you want, you can take out on the outside edge, but the other thing that you can do is to pinch a little bit on the inside edge. So use the reverse angle on your gouge, the reverse cutting edge, and try to steal a bit. See? So I'm just stealing a little bit and shaping back the other way. So it can conceal, you don't need the right shape, because the kind of thing you can do, you can just use the inside edge as well, and you're now shaping that stop cut. So you're changing slightly the dynamic of the stop cut. There we go. So there's a piece just come away there. That's just where it's gone with the grain. So you're changing the dynamic of your stop cut by stealing a little bit. So that's a method that we will use quite often, is to just steal a little bit. See? So we got our stop cut, but we can reshape the stop cut. Okay, reshape the stop cut by stealing a little bit where we've marked it out initially. Let's see, just go around there. Just steal a little bit extra in and around that stop cut. So if you haven't got the, thanks for that, I'm glad that you used the question. Is this question? No, spot on. I just show you, I put a bit of oil on there. So what I've done is to steal a little bit as I'm doing that one there. Yeah, that's the other thing. What it would be worth knowing what you're working on, Mark, or it's a situation that from time to time happens. I'll have to think of a demonstration with it where we can go through a full demonstration, because it's one of those things, and exactly what you're talking about, and you'll have a situation where you're working with different gouges and you haven't got quite the right shape. And generally what I do, my main sort of protocol, is I will let the gouges sort of dictate. And if the gouges can't quite do the line, then I'll adapt the design slightly to accommodate them. But that's what we do, is to try and steal a little bit if you can, and then just carve in inside and outside the stop cut, and also improvise a little bit. There we go. So you can see, you can work on both edges of the stop cut to try and reshape it how you want to. Let's have a little look. Is something like that going to be able to show us? Let's have a little look. Let's try one more little demo to highlight the point. Right, so let's say I'm working with a gouge like this one here, and that is perfectly straight. Okay, so it can't do the curve that we want. Okay, so what I can do is I can go to there. Okay, now naturally this wants to just go up there, so this will highlight what I'm talking about. So what I do, I go to there, okay, and then I just steal a little bit round the corner, just like so. So now we're changing it, we're going for two angles, okay, and I'll show you the same on the other side. So we go out there, so now we're losing it, it's going too far out, so we can bring it back around like so. And I'm doing it in a sort of an extreme way to highlight the point. So what we would do, we would cut into the stop cuts, like so. But because that gouge is not the right shape, it's basically what we would call Mark was asking about what you do when you haven't got the right sort of shape and sweep of gouge when you're working on a job. You pinch a bit, you you improvise. So we're just working.
Anybody out there, I wonder, Nico's been doing this football thing, you know?
Right.
And for some reason, he said, oh, who's the best player? And I was ringing him up. I said, oh, Stanley Matthews.
Stanley Matthews.
You know? So he was looking to see if he was on the site.
I
wonder,
don't
anybody out there ever remember seeing Stanley Matthews play?
There we are, Stanley Matthews.
Because
it was the daffodil and the spoon was working on.
I was there when he played. I think it was Stoke City against Cardiff, 1962.
There we are. So,
Stanley Matthews.
the carver says about like your recommendation. Ah, there we are. The carver, I just noticed there what the carver's saying. Using a knife almost to score a line when the gouge isn't a proper fit is another way of doing it. So yeah, you can literally score the line.
Yeah.
You can do it. You can do it with the corner of a gouge again. So you can just use the corner of the gouge and, similar to what the carver's describing, start to score a line. Score a line just like so, where you start to establish a stop cut. So you can use you know, any way to get that worked on there. Now going back to this one, all I would do with this is where I've marked that stop cut, I can now go back over it and reshape the stop cut to the way I want it, just by going back over. So once you've got your depth, whilst we were working with the gouge, it was the wrong shape and size to do it.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
Where there's a will, there's a way. And the other thing as well, I mean, basically, this is a demonstration. We'll have to do a demonstration of using all the wrong gouges to do the job. Because that's what makes the difference.
These are the old ones I had, Dave, and I used to use that one for quite a lot of things.
And that's what I was explaining. We have like go-to gouges, and they'll get you out of trouble. And that's why it is good to have a variety of different gouges. They'll get you out of trouble. And then there's certain ones when you haven't got the right shape and size. So for instance, if I'm doing this here at the top and I've got the wrong type of gouge, that's another way you can go. Use the reverse angle. Use the reverse angle. Yeah, I'll warm it through again. You know, use the reverse angle to cut. So it's very much about, you know, as Dad was, I've used the wrong one now. As Dad was saying, where there's a will, there is a way. Improvising, figuring it out as you're going along. So we've turned that wrong angle. We're now getting that to work in what we want to do. Easier if you've got the right gouge, but if not, there's always a method. There's always a way around it. There we are. Just like so. And if it was a daffodil, let's have a little look. Okay, so if we're working now on that one there will be a little daffodil. So if we're working on that daffodil and we've got the wrong gouges for the job, let's have a look. So, you know, you can mark a stop cut like so. Now ideally I'd be working with one that's got a little bit more curve on it. Same again with something with a bit more curve on it. You can try and create the effect that this gouge, you can try and turn this gouge into a slightly shorter one by not using the whole, by using it at a sort of a 3/4 angle. Just try all shapes to make your life as easy as possible. So I'm now using this gouge at like a 3/4 angle, as it's not how I would normally do this. I got a feeling I'm going to go and do this now and prefer it to the way I normally do it. Let's have a look. So you cut that out at sort of 45-degree angles like so. If I end up liking this more, it'll be down to Mark's question. So you can see we got that at a 3/4 angle. To do the petals, the petals of our daffodil, we're going to have to use some sort of gouge where it will scoop out. So see, we just scoop that into the, where it would be the center, where it would be the trumpet. Turn it around the rice. Where there's a will, there's loads of relatives. Spot on. So you can see what we're sort of, the essence of what we're doing here, and it's a great question because it is something that you sort of confront on a daily basis. There's lots of different ways of dealing with this exact thing, and you just have to put the time in, figure it out. And so this will have a slightly different finish because of the way I've carved it. It will look slightly different to the way I would normally carve the daffodil, but you figured out a solution. And possibly a slightly easier way of making this particular design. But it's not done how I would regard as optimum and ideal in some ways. But you'd probably find you put it on sale and it would be more popular than the original. Yeah. Just in like so. Great question though, fair play. Yeah, great question. It's looking at it's problem solving and troubleshooting, and so every carving, Matt, you will confront certain issues, and that's what you're doing, is you're finding any solution to the possible problem. And if all else fails, you know what we always sort of do, you know, especially if you've got plenty of wood in the design, then just get in there, have a crack at it. If it goes wrong, carve it back out, start again, adapt, evolve, change, try it all. Let's have a look. So you can see we're not, you know, the gouges we're working with, it would be easier to do this with smaller gouges, but by using sort of a 3/4 angle, I'm managing to get the job done. Not ideal, but gets the job done. We've got one like that. And then just a few little markings just to finish that. 1, 2, 3, and 4. There, I mean, you know, it's just a simple little example for how we can, you know, pinch a little bit Yeah, in some ways I like it more than the normal one, the normal way I do it. I may use that method again. And that's the thing, you're always learning, you're always trying something different. So, to sum up, with answering that one there, as the carver was saying, you can mark the line using, so you can use other gouges, the ones that you feel are closest to it, smaller gouges as well to make up the line. You can use a skewered chisel or gouge, or as the carver says, a knife. So you can just mark out, let's say it's a line like that, or let's say it's a tricky line, something like that. You can score along the line using a skewered gouge. So you can establish that stop cut using all sorts of different methods, and then we could work into that and then just re-establish that line as we go along. So that's the method. And then the other ones is to just try and pinch a little bit. All little techniques and methods. Try them all out. Hopefully you get the job done. There we go. Thank you all again for joining us. Hope you have a great week. All going well. There'll be a video upload on Wednesday, and we might manage a short for Friday too. Any questions as well in the meantime? Any ideas with that method? What we'll have to try and do is at some stage I'll have to do a demonstration. I've done them in the past where I sort of limit myself on the number of gouges that I work with. That's always a bit of fun. So yeah, we might have a look at that. Yeah, hope you all have a great week. Thanks again for joining us. And we'll, all going well, we'll be back next Monday. Thanks again.